Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for tuning back in. This video is going to be over leadership. Leadership is the ability to set a direction and an example, not just for yourself, but for those who are following you to complete a certain task. You know, you can think back to the times where you perhaps stepped up and led a project at work, or a buddy of yours, needed some direction, right? I had some questions for you. Listen, boys, I've had that all the time, being able to set up, times to meet, where to meet, how long to be there, what to discuss over, right? All of these skills, right, are a part of leadership. And listen, you might be asking, well, how does this pertain, right, to men? Well, you see, ever since the dawn of our history, men have always been the ones that have led. Always, right? Why is that? Well, we are the ones that's always had to bear, right, the overall burden of society, right? We're the ones who have always had to go out there and make ourselves, right? And so when you have that kind of skill, right, it's only natural that you would be a leader, right? Think about it. Generals, politicians, right? They've always been men. Well, not always, but the majority of them, the exceptions to the rule, sure, but the majority have always been men, right? So this is how it pertains to men, right? And it's not just work, it's not just friendships, right? It's also intimate relationships, right? The man is always the head of household. And that's the way it's always been. That's the way that it works. Right? You see, women have never had to go out and collect resources. They've never had to use the skills that men had to develop. So, they look for that in men. They look for leadership skills in men. Here's the thing, boys. If she cannot trust you, right, to lead her in the right direction, you're going to have a hard time in that relationship. That or it's already done to begin with, So that's why it's so important, right, to learn those leadership skills, right? And it starts with getting that courage to speak your mind, right? It starts with motivating yourself to say something. If direction is going in, if you see that direction is going in the wrong way, maybe the leader at the time is doing something in a way that costs the company money, right? Or it's just something that just doesn't really make sense. Speak up, say something. Start stepping up in the right direction. Start leading people. I remember when I was still in the military, I wanted to step up, right, and teach, on training days when we had training days, and I also wanted to help train, on the job, for new airmen, right. So I would train them on how to, because I was an MP, so I would train them on how to handcuff, how to search, and all that stuff, right? That's something that I enjoyed to do, right? Because I was helping out, someone else, and I was setting them in the right direction, right? And so the thing about that too is that every base will have their own way of doing things, right? And everyone who's training has their own way of doing things. The thing is that there are so many directions that you're heading in. You're getting so much information. Oh, well, this guy does it this way. He wants me to do it this way. This guy does it this way. He wants me to do it this way. Look, I don't see that as leadership. That's just confusing people, right? So what I've always told people is, look, this is basically how you do it, right? And you add your own spin to it, right? This is how we're taught to do it. This is how I'm going to teach you to do it, right? From when we went to I guess you could say police academy for the Air Force, but that's how we called it technical school. And that's how they taught us. So that's how I'm going to teach you, right? And cool, going to go on from there, right? You can learn, or excuse me, you can add your own spin to it after, right? And well, that's just the thing, right? You set an example for someone, right? You set a direction for someone, and you give them, right, the freedom to add their own spin onto it, right? You're not confusing them. You're just simply pushing them in a direction, right? By giving them an example to go by so that they can add on their own spin to things, right? Micromanaging, man, that's not leadership. It's not leadership. We see that way too often today, where, you know, your boss is constantly hounding you for whatever, you know. And oftentimes, right, if you allow that, it can carry on into your personal life as well, right? This is why I say, boys, look, you cannot separate your personal life from your work life. It's impossible. You just can't do it, right? You can't do it. You know, maybe the girlfriend or the wife, you know, micromanages a lot. You know, women have that problem. Incredibly so. They have that problem where they want to baby you. They want to micromanage you as if you're incompetent, right? Whew, listen, boys, that's a tough situation to be in, right? I mean, there's already a lot there, right? As far as that, a lot of disrespect there, right? If you don't put your foot down, it's just going to keep getting worse. But that's not leadership. That's not someone who should lead, you know? So giving someone some space, right, to grow within themselves is what is so important, right, for people that you're leading, you know, because you're supposed to create new leaders. You're not supposed to, you know, create people that are just going to follow and do what you say, right? I hate that shit. I really hate that shit, man. You know, and that's what a lot of the military is just creating followers that just shut up and does what they're told. And, you know, that's not creating leadership. That's not cultivating an environment where people can grow within themselves. You know, that's why I hate that shit. It's not leadership at all. That's just politics. So, yeah. Set an example, set a direction, right? Initiative is super important too, guys. Look, if no one's taking the initiative, right, to set times to agree on something, take the initiative, man. You know, hey guys, look, let's vote on this. Let's what about here? What about this time? You know, start asking around, man. Take initiative, because most of the time, if someone takes initiative, everyone else is going to follow. That's just how it goes. People are more comfortable with following than they are with leading, right? It takes courage, right? See, and you got to work on that courage, you know? No one's going, well, I mean, only asshats will fucking laugh at you for taking the initiative, right? If people don't agree, right? Whatever, fuck them. They're not the ones who who stood up and said something. So you did. You had the balls to say something, so take pride in that. But yeah, courage, guys. Courage. Absolutely. Work on that courage to say something, right? To do something, to act, right? Because that's the beginning of building your leadership skills. Right. And look, guys, if you mess up, don't beat yourself up over it, right? We're men. We mess up. Shit happens, okay? All that matters is that you're moving in a direction and you can fix the direction later on, right? We learn, we make we make mistakes, we learn, we grow, right? So just make sure you learn from those mistakes, right? And you start heading in the right direction after. Okay, that's really important. And before you know it, guys, you'll have people following your lead, right? And growing within themselves. And I'm telling you that man, holy shit, that really brings joy to you to know that people are growing. I've had to push quite a few people in the right direction myself, right? Not that I was perfect, but right, I had those leadership skills within me, right, to guide them in the right direction, to push them to go somewhere when they had no confidence within themselves to do it, right? And then they developed that confidence because I set that example, I've had people live with me to get back on their feet, and that it's rough. Yeah, it's rough. But the thing is, there's a purpose to it, right? The purpose is to help them out, right? To push them in the right direction, right? Because when they came to me, they didn't have a direction. And now they do, and that's the whole point. And that's why leadership skills help you. It's reality, boys. It's not just being that big boss, that's leading the project. It's not that strong husband that you want to be for the family, right? And it's not that friend that's always being leaned on, right? It's when someone needs you in their darkest hour, right? And you can push them forward in the right direction. That's reality. That happens a lot, man. That happens a lot. I've stopped, right? And this is when I was religious. I would stop and I would give people, $5-10 who were, asking for a meal to eat, and at the time there was a prayer room that I went to, and I was like, hey, look, they do this thing every Sunday, they give food and everything like that. I would go and check that out. And maybe you just might find some information where you can, lift yourself up out of this predicament, and I don't know if she ever went there. But there was a direction that was set, I pointed her in a direction, right? And that was the point, right? So that's pretty much it, boys. Work on your courage, right? Work on your confidence. And look, you build your confidence through failure. And that's just how life goes, Oh, I learned this. I'm going to do this next time. I'm going to try this next time, right? And before you know it, you're speaking out, and you're speaking up. You're saying stuff. Take that initiative when no one really seems that they want to. Set a direction. Let's meet at this time. Let's do this. Let's do that. What do you guys think of this? We're gonna pay this bill, we're gonna pay that bill, we're gonna take our child to this school, that school, whatever. And then also set an example, right? You gotta be this way, right? You have to be this way, right? That way, and it's an image kind of deal, You set an image, people want to follow that image, A lot of people have an identity crisis today and they don't know who they are, right? So, especially when they're growing up, you know, that's why role models exist, to kind of model yourself after. And then when you get old enough, you know, you can, or as you grow, right, you put your own spin on things to make it unique for you. And, but it all starts with an example, right? So, you know, be that role model for, or that mentor. Mentoring is huge, man. That's a huge part of leadership too, is mentoring. You know, you grow, right? Because someone is guiding you in such a way where you feel that confidence gaining within you, right, from that person, and that's true leadership. It is. So be that mentor, be that that guider. You know, whether you're giving tough love or not. You know, don't be worried about saying something that, you know, someone might find offensive, right? We're here to push people in the right direction, not coddle people. And that's really important too. Don't care about stepping on toes. That's not a leader. A leader is someone who will say something regardless of how someone feels, as long as it pushes them in the right direction. You know, I've had to do that too. You know, it's hard. It's hard having those conversations, but it ultimately it led to them living a better life, and that's great. So set that example, boys. Be that mentor. Guide people in the right direction, and you know, most importantly, work on that courage and work on that confidence. So we're pretty much on time here, boys. So if this happened to help you, please like and subscribe. Also, if you guys happen to have anything on your minds, please leave it in the comments. Or if you would like me to talk about something else, let me know. I appreciate you guys tuning in. And as always, boys, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, work on this, go lift, and I'll talk to you soon.